discovering and using additional connectors. Let's wrap up this module with a little bit around how you can go out and get additional things for your Anypoint Studio environment and look for different connectors. So there's a lot of connectors that aren't in the box per se. Anypoint Studio comes with about 30. They're endpoint-based connectors, some are operation-based connectors. There are many other connectors that you can use that connect to third-party APIs. They're operation-based endpoints for connecting to that other API. You can find them on the Anypoint Exchange and install them as new software from Anypoint Studio through either the Anypoint Studio connector update site or, as of now, directly through the Exchange. The Anypoint Exchange is basically a library of assets for the Anypoint platform. Not only does this exchange include connectors, but it has great templates for integration examples and also just great little tutorials and things like that around building Mule apps. So if you haven't checked out the Exchange, you can head to mulesoft.com/library and take a look now. But I'll also show you how to access it in Studio. Now, a little bit around these connectors. As you're going through and browsing connectors, you're going to find that some of them fall into a different level, a different category. So there's a couple premium connectors out there. And those few premium connectors have an additional cost. They're constantly being updated, tested, fully supported tier 1 through 3. And some of the connector examples are things like HL7, SAP, and Siebel. Now, the other grouping, which holds most of our connectors, are things like select connectors. And select connectors have updated APIs, they're fully tested, they're supported tier 1 through 3, and these are our Salesforce connectors, our Workday connectors, and so on. There's also a grouping of standard connectors, and these are connectors that are supported tier 1, and essentially, these are like our Zendesks, our Zora, and so on. And then finally, the community connectors driven by the community, are supported on a tier 1 level. These are things like our LinkedIn and Twilio connectors. Now, you might be wondering what exactly these tiers of support mean between the different connector levels. Basically, tier 1 is MuleSoft is going to isolate the problem and diagnose it with the connector. Tier 2 is MuleSoft will find a workaround for that particular item in the connector that you're filing a potentially support issue or bug with. In tier 3 are the connectors that MuleSoft will actually fix the code with that particular connector. Let's dive right in and get just a quick example of getting a connector from the Exchange. So basically what I'm going to show everyone here is how to go out and search for a connector. This example is going to be the box connector, how to bring it inside a Studio, and then how easy it is to use that connector. So let's meet up in Anypoint Studio. So inside a Studio, we can stay in our existing project. We're not really going to change anything with this final example. But let's pretend for a moment that you're going to be connecting to Box. If you've never heard of Box before, it's a secure content platform. And basically allows you to put files in the cloud and access and work with those files and even collaborate as well. So in our use case, let's just pretend that you need to be able to connect to information that you're storing on Box and need to be able to bring that information into your integration applications. So back in Studio, we'll first start off by searching for Box. And we're seeing that by searching for Box, there clearly is not a connector out of the box in Studio, right? So what we can do here by closing out, we can go up to the Anypoint Exchange. So by clicking on this item here, we'll open up the Exchange library. This is the place where you can now go in and search for a lot of great stuff. As was mentioned in the slides, there's great templates inside of here to give you an idea of how you can synchronize different systems and build integrations. There's some really good examples in here that will show you little snippets on how to accomplish specific things. But in our case, we're interested in looking for a connector. So let's go ahead and search for Box in this search box here. And as I type, it will dynamically look for it. Now, here's the Box connector. I can select this Box connector. I can see what level of support that Box connector is on. I also have a little introductory video on how to integrate with Box, some description details around the connector itself, and so on. Now, once I've decided that I want Box to be inside of Anypoint Studio, I'll simply click Install. Essentially, the Anypoint Exchange doesn't actually store anything in a repository. It really just acts as a reference to where these items live. So in the case of a connector, you want to hook it into an Eclipse update site so you can constantly stay updated. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So the Anypoint Exchange has taken us to the Eclipse update site for the Box connector. We can now hit Next, Next, Agree, and Finish. It will now install this connector inside a Studio and stay linked to the update site so that you're aware of potential new updates for this connector. After the download has finished, to get the install to kick in completely, we need to restart Studio, so we'll hit yes. Once Studio has restarted on our machine, it should load our workspace back up. And once we're back inside of the development environment itself, instantly, now that we've got the box connector installed, we should very easily be able to search for box as we intended to before, and now we've got the box connector. When dropping in the box connector, we can see it in its inbound scope here, and then see any operations particularly for the inbound, and then on the process, we can see all of the operations that are available for the process or outbound oriented box connector as well. So very easy to go out and grab a different connector from the community, from the Anypoint Exchange, and bring it right inside of Studio.